Good morning and welcome to For Fantasy's Sake, Quad City's first and only fantasy football show. This year, we are sponsored by Mobile Party Experience, the premier tailgating entertainment source for the Quad Cities. I am your host, Doug Green, joined as always by one DJ Jarvis and one Christopher Steele.
Hello.
Boys, it is time for the three words that every woman loves to hear. Football is back.
I think you might be a little sarcastic there, Doug. I'm pretty sure they are very frustrated by the fact that we don't talk to them for 4 months straight.
No, I don't know about you. My wife is very excited. I'm gone for the next 4 months.
Doug, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, my wife, I think, is excited as well. My daughter was sad that I was leaving the building this morning to come here, but my wife's very excited to get rid of me.
DJ, you seem like more of a hindrance than a help.
Just like his internet connection.
Yeah.
Okay, this is going to be a good day. All right, cool.
You can tell we're already on fire.
Yeah, we're in mid-season form already. Cool. All right.
Hey.
So, a couple of changes. Let's bring everybody up to speed as to where we are at the start of the year. We've got staff changes. At some point, we will go through all of the staff members as soon as I pull them all up. We've had a few folks come, a few folks go. Site's still up and running, even though do not let the fact that Doug forgot to pay for the domain and it crashed for a couple of days fool you. We are still up and running over there. We have all the standard social medias, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and this year we have added TikTok. We started that at the NFL draft. So we'll be throwing some stuff up over there. So make sure you give us a follow over there at FFSQC as well. We do have a new title sponsor this year. As you heard, Mobile Party Experience is now joined us they will be our lead sponsor for this season. DJ is at Kavanaugh's, who has been kind of our lead sponsor for the last couple of years, or at least kind of our home away from home there. And we still appreciate everything Tim does for us. Do not want to lessen his contributions there. We appreciate everything he has done for us throughout the years as well. On top of that, basic standard draft show this year. Here we'll take you guys through everything you need to know, going through each of the different positions. But Chris, bring me up to speed, kind of what's been going on with you. How's the fantasy football life been treating you here? Any drafts, anything exciting here recently?
Yeah, I mean, all the drafts that I've been a part of have been a lot of fun this year. Just watching college football again yesterday, it's kind of like the way the show has been going. There's a certain stall before it gets up and running completely. Watching the Iowa-Indiana game, I've never seen a top 25 team look like they did not want to be there any less than Indiana did yesterday. So that was delightful. Mm-hmm. And watching Illinois lose to a team that I cannot identify where they are from or what they are was also strange to me. So, DJ, you've got to answer for your boys.
No, Central Florida football, bro.
What is that? UTSA? I was like, University of
Texas
Southern
San
Alumni.
Antonio, okay? But
that is where Marcus Davenport from Saints came from.
I regress. I am a Illinois basketball fan, Central Florida football fan. So
so you get to hang a fake banner anytime you feel like it?
Yeah, I'm all about hanging fake banners, bro. That's what I do.
I'm glad we're not at DJ's house right now. We'd see multiplying Chiefs banners behind him every time he cut away and came back.
Yeah.
You should see all the fake banners I have in my house for all the NBA teams I've claimed to be a fan of.
Also, great. I'm sure all your fantasy titles. Do you have anything to commemorate those, DJ?
Oh, I absolutely do. I have, if I was at my home office, I got 2 trophies that sit behind me that I promote any chance that I get is that I won my 2 main leagues in the same year. So I walked around calling myself Daddy 3 Belts for a while.
I'm sure that name stuck.
What is wrong with you?
Where would you like me to begin?
I know. Okay, so
it never ends.
Let's recap, since that's what the shot sheet says. We're going to try and stay by that this year, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so let's try and recap the staff draft. In case you were not here last week.
Like Chris. Chris was not here
like
for the
Chris,
staff draft.
who
I
auto
was
drafted.
uninvited. Actually, I fell asleep.
So we had the annual staff draft. We ran that on Sleeper, which is actually a really good platform. The more that we use that, the more I really like it.
Let's scratch this draft recap because nobody cares what our team looks like. And let's talk about, you tweeted this out yesterday.
Yes.
We are big My Fantasy League fans, traditionally.
Yeah.
But the more I think about it, like you said, Sleeper is pretty unique. And I really like the fact that you can make multi-team trades. It doesn't have to be willy-nilly. Because you know me, I try to orchestrate 3-team trades all the time. And I think the ability to do that might be a game changer.
Yeah, I really love it. I love the interface. There's not with MFL, there's a lot of burden placed on the commissioner or somebody in the league to know all the settings and do all the setup. And there's a bunch of technical stuff that you really need to know how to do. And Sleeper takes all of that away. They basically, it's just a series of check boxes that you pick for your sliders for your settings. It's much easier, much less complicated. Does it give you the customizability, putting up fancy images and all that kind of stuff? No, but
yeah, but you have the stupid Bitmojis. I hate those things.
I would rather have a stupid Bitmoji than have to pay somebody $50 to create and load a stupid graphic at the top of the screen.
Well, and that's the other big thing about MFL is you're shelling out $90 to get hosted on that. And that's a big deal. Like that's in a league. I mean, I'm in my only league that I host on MFL. It's a $50 buy-in, and that's 2 people's buy-in to host the site. And I think that when you win the league, you're kind of disappointed because you've lost that money now.
Yeah. It feels like even when you win the league, your amount never feels like it's correct because you're putting so much into just the overhead of everything too.
Correct.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, we do the same thing. We're on CBS, and CBS, because people like their analysis that they give you, which isn't a whole lot and is usually 100% wrong, especially when it comes to injuries. People love that it gives you that little bit of extra information on there. So we end up spending more money on that than we do spending to pay out the winner. It's just ridiculous.
You can get that analysis on a Twitter page. Just search that guy's name.
Yeah.
And I think if you really want your league analyzed, you can pay us, $30 and we'll analyze your league for you.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah, but I really like Sleeper. If I was running a league or starting a league, I would be moving everything over there. Especially since they announced this week that they're going to start doing dynasty leagues. That's
the big thing is it's kind of difficult to, if they could come up with a way to import your other league, like the way you can kind of do with MFL, that would make things a lot easier. Because I considered to make the switch to Sleeper this year for at least one of my leagues. But it's just when you're thinking about 40 players for 12 teams, that just is very time consuming.
Oh, you don't have anything better going on.
I don't want to stare at it for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Okay.
There's things I'd rather stare at.
Yeah.
His Chiefs banners.
His fantasy
My
team.
Chiefs banners. My Chiefs Super Bowl ring, stuff like that. I'd rather stare at that stuff.
Did you actually buy one of those?
It was a gift from my wife who loves me very much.
Okay.
He put up those deflector shields real quick, Doug. He knew you were
I
coming
noticed
in
that.
hot.
The name on the shipping label might have said Megan Jarvis, but I think the credit card that passed through was definitely assigned to one Donald Jarvis.
We have a shared bank account.
But still.
From me to me.
Yes. Nobody loves me more than me.
That's accurate. I mean, when it comes to me, that's definitely true.
Yes. All right. Oh, one other thing that we wanted to discuss before we got too far along. DJ and I did appear on Paulo Sands Live last week as well. That is linked on all of the social media spots. So make sure if you did not catch us live to go see that, go watch us bumble through live television, just like we bumble through a live internet feed every week. That was also fun. And we want to thank her for having us on.
Yeah, we also are in the midst of hosting our Toys for Tots draft right now. Doug's draft starts in about
5 minutes.
3 minutes. What I really want to give a shout out to is Mr. Jordan Rangel, who actually fudged over the dollars to join all 4 leagues and is still watching us this morning. So Jordan's trying to figure out 4 drafts and has us tuned in.
Because he wants to see what we're going to do.
I mean, big
And don't forget, Jordan also is in the staff league. Since he is our number 1 fan, we allowed him to join our staff league. And any for Fantasy Saker that finishes ahead of Jordan, he will throw in $25 to our charity. So,
yeah,
which charity was it? Was that for Toys for Tots, or was that going to?
I think Foster's Voice. Voice. We'll give them a little shout out before we go to our first break. I think while we do support Toys for Tots, the quote unquote chosen charity for fantasy sake is Foster's Voice. It's a local non-for-profit for a United Township student who I guess he passed away a few years ago. And his parents started this charity to kind of bring awareness to suicide in all the schools locally. And I think they're even growing even bigger around this area, more than just in this area, like we're trying to do. But there are quote unquote charity, and it especially hits close to home with September being Suicide Awareness Month. So go check them out. Donate your money. We're looking forward to Jordan donating plenty of money at the end of this season to them, because we plan on kicking his butt.
Yep. And he will happily fork over that cash for a good cause like that. All right, cool.
Hey guys,
so before we go
we're not talking about football yet. Are you ready for some football? Let's go.
Yes, we're going to do that on the other side of the break.
Got to give us 15 minutes to mess around.
Yeah, we got to warm up, man.
I'm just going to jump the gun every time.
I know. We know all about Chris not staying along the shot sheet. I didn't get the shot sheet. Yeah, you just don't want to follow it, man. We know.
I even made the shot sheet on like Tuesday, Chris.
Well, when you make it, that doesn't change the fact that I didn't get it, DJ.
Fair enough.
Did you have to print it out and hand it to him?
Yeah, but I'll be able to do that soon. I will be able to print the shot sheet off and hand it to Chris, and then he has no excuses.
Now I'm going to throw it on the floor.
You should. That'd be hilarious. All right. So that should take us to our first break. I am not reading the commercials this year.
Cover your kids' ears, because I am reading the commercials, and there's sure to be at least 2 or 3 swear words, even though they're not written into the commercials.
I will try not and spit my drink all over my computer when this happens.
What do football fanatics in the Quad Cities love more than Sunday football? Tailgating and partying before, during, and after their favorite college football games. And Mobile Party Experience has the hookup for all your tailgating needs. Mobile Party Experience offers solutions for all types of party throwers and goers. They have towable trailers that offer music, TVs, gaming, private bathrooms with running water, flushable toilet, beverage dispensers, coolers, grills, and utensils, tables, chairs, and tents. They have all the amenities you could want or need to host a tailgate party or event. Find them at their website at my-mpx.com or on Facebook at Mobile Party Experience. Didn't know that word was going to be that hard. Sunday is still the best day at Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill, while your favorite Jamokes, well, just this one Jamoke, is back on the deck talking fantasy football. They're still one of the best places in the Quad Cities for your football viewing pleasures. Their back deck is ready to go for football season. Well, I guess there's multiple seasons. We all have our favorite team. But you can enjoy the Bears, Packers, or any of your favorite out-of-market teams. If outside isn't your thing, you can head into their remodeled inside bar area and watch NFL Sunday Ticket on their numerous screens or play their adult video games. I hear they have the loosest slots in the Quad Cities. That's Kavanaugh's Hilltop Bar and Grill, 1228 30th Street in Rock Island. the non-bubble home for fantasy sake. While we're no longer a PG show, we're still saying frick it for fantasy sake. Frick's Tap, that is. If Davenport is more your style for your football watching pleasure, head to Frick's Tap, 1402 West 3rd Street, where they have 20 beers on tap. Beer isn't your scene? That's okay. They have $3 you-call-outs during all of the Sunday football games. Frick's it has NFL Sunday Ticket on all of their 13 screens, so don't fret if your team is playing on the West Coast this week. So for Frick's sake, head into Frick's Tap today.
Very
All
good.
right,
you only messed up like 7 times.
That's okay. You know, this is week 1 for everybody.
We've got to read the ad, Marty.
Technically, isn't this like...
Yes, it's like week 0. Yep. That's going to go great. Okay. So we're going to start this segment by talking about fantasy quarterbacks. I am currently on the clock, so I need to make my pick real quick. We've got Travis Kelce and Devontae Adams are staring me down. I think just for DJ's sake, I think we'll go ahead and take Devontae Adams right here because nobody wants to take Travis Kelce in the first round. All right, moving on to the shot sheet. Let's move back. All right, so quarterbacks this year. A lot of quarterback change in the league this year. Obviously, a bunch of rookie quarterbacks are going to play this year. One of them probably should be playing week 1, but is currently going to ride the pine early on. We'll get to him in a minute. But which rookie quarterback do you think is going to have the best season for 2021? We'll look in the crystal ball a little bit. Your choices are Mac Jones, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, or that guy down in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence. Because DJ forgot to put him on the list.
No, I didn't put him on the list because I think it was probably assumed that he would be best, but I should have put him on the list. Outside of Trevor Lawrence, I'd probably go with Zach Wilson. I'm a big fan of the Mormon Mahomes. So I think that he's got kind of that Drew Lock swagger with more than Drew Lock talent. So I think that he'll have a pretty good year in New York. They've got some decent weapons. I'm excited about what Corey Davis can do. So those words have never been spoken.
Chris, I already know your answer. So what about your second choice?
So I'm actually excited about Zach Wilson, which I didn't think is something that I would say post-draft. Because watching how, timid and, afraid he was during the draft, it was bizarre. And he's this guy coming from BYU. He gets thrown into the big city of New York, and it's just he's going to crinkle underneath this spotlight right here. But he's done great. He's looked good in the preseason. All the throws are there. I think that he has a chance to actually take that franchise out of being in the darkness and get them kind of in the spotlight right on the fringe at this point. They need a lot more help for him, but if you have a quarterback, that's the start that's going to push you towards being able to get back in the spotlight there.
That's the big thing too, is this isn't the AFC East of old where you walk into Foxborough on Sunday and you're already kind of mentally defeated. This is, I think, the first time since the 70s that all 4 quarterbacks in the divisions under 25 or under. So, I mean, I know the Bills are daunting, but they're not Tom Brady. They're not Bill Belichick and Tom Brady where you're walking in and that's kind of scary as a rookie quarterback. So I'm pretty excited to see not only what Zach Wilson can do there, but the rest of the quarterbacks in that division. Doug, I know you've got he might not be your guy. I know Justin Fields is your pick there, but I know you have some opinions on Trey Lance.
I do. Actually, Trey Lance was going to be my guy other than Justin Fields. I think actually might have the best season this year. He looks like he's going to get time. Like I said, I watched the last 49ers preseason game, the first half, and they were swapping out Lance and Jimmy G mid-drive, which will drive people nuts. Whether who you need to start, when you need to start, which guy, who's going to get hot. And they were mixing up they were doing it kind of the opposite way that you would think. They put Jimmy in the goal line situations, and they put Trey Lance in kind of the obvious passing situations. Now that may just be preseason. Let's see what the guys can do outside of their comfort zone kind of thing. But that's going to play heck with the defensive coordinators and for fantasy managers trying to figure out who to put that in there. I think if Trey Lance does take that job full time, though, I think he's got a really good chance of being, a quarterback one somewhere in that top 12 just because of his legs and his ability to create on the run. And that's really kind of the thing that it is nowadays. You notice that we didn't talk about Mac Jones as part of this just because he doesn't bring that dynamic running game with it. And I think going forward now, I think what we'll see is if you're going to be in that top 12, you're running some type of running element, some modicum of that is going to have to be part of your game if you want to be kind of really in that top 12 discussion.
I think you're very correct on that. In what I know that you're really more looking at Lance as opposed to the other guys. You're more looking at him in a dynasty or a 2 quarterback form, but in a super flex. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, in the 1 quarterback situation, Lance might be a guy that I might shy away from just because of that weird kind of timeshare with Jimmy G. But going forward, if he ever does land that job full time, he's a guy that I'd be very interested in seeing.
Well, here's the thing for me is a lot of people read into New England getting rid of Cam Newton as like an actual like vindication of Mac Jones. Mac Jones is fine. Cam Newton's probably a locker room cancer when it comes to New England because New England wants their players to be a certain way, and Cam Newton is not that player. Cam is a guy who's going to have his internet memes of himself sliding down the bench on the sideline. That's not a New England thing. That's not a Bill Belichick thing. That's not something that they endorse. They don't want their players to be flashy. They don't want their players to have charisma. They want them to be quarterback X, wide receiver X, the guys they just throw in and out of lineups all the time. Cam is not that guy. Cam is a guy who's kind of in his entire career continued to just get by because he's how talented he is. Now that he's not the most talented quarterback on the team, that doesn't necessarily make it that Mac Jones is good. They just don't want to put up with Cam as much as they believe that Mac Jones may be the future, and he may be. It's less of an endorsement of Mac Jones and more of an indictment of Cam to me.
I think that's a really good take on the they want them to be QB1, wide receiver 1, because I think that's been the big thing from when Brady was there late in the social media era. Is the Patriots social media team always referred to him as QB1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one thing kind of along the same line that has gotten to me is my thoughts on Zach Wilson was that not that the conference is hard, not that football was going to be hard for him, but the media aspect of it, because we've seen Javi Baez has been there less than a few months and he's already in a fight with the fans in New York. New York is not an easy place to play, no matter who you are. So this is something where it just feels like the more that time weighs on Zach Wilson, it's going to get to him. But if his talent is what he's flashed in the preseason, I think that's going to make it so it's easier for him to actually be a quarterback that people can cheer for instead of, oh my gosh, let's get this guy. Let's all get our pitchforks and go get Zach Wilson.
So moving on to our next subject matter. Which second-year quarterback are you buying, Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow?
A week ago, I might have said Hurts, but the Gardner Minshew thing kind of throws me for a loop because I know Philly fans are going to be clamoring for him. Burrow worries me because their offensive line is garbage. But I think I would 100% have to go with Burrow based on, I think, the talent's there, and I think that they have just way better weapons, especially if Jamar Chase can figure out how to catch the ball.
Yeah,
Well,
I would agree with that assessment. Chris?
Yeah, Jamar Chase has been not playing football for quite a while. We got to take that into account too. And he'll get back to being Jamar Chase. People aren't going to miss by that much on Jamar Chase. I think Burrow's an easy choice here because Burrow had the ability to make all the throws last year. What really came into play and was a problem was that Burrow didn't have the offensive line to protect him, and he was getting absolutely murdered out there. So the longer that you allowed that to happen, the more chance of an injury was going to happen, and it eventually did. I think that since he did get injured, that's probably for his benefit because he didn't have to take those additional hits that he was going to take over and over again.
Mm-hmm. Though the case can be made that remember that they took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell, who they absolutely had the chance to take with as the best left tackle in the draft, and they chose Chase, who was Burrow's college teammate. So, excuse me. Staying with that though, I would probably, in terms of pure talent, I would probably take Burrow, but in terms of fantasy, I would probably take Hurts if I had to. It's close. I can see this being a coin flip, but I think I'll take the contrarian stance here and take Hurts just for that running ability. Yeah, his weapons aren't quite as good, but for that running ability, his ability just to have to get you a couple of cheap scores running, I think he's a guy that you gotta push a little ahead.
I think we get caught up in the fact that we see guys like Lamar and we see other quarterbacks that have the ability to run and do so many things with their legs. And we just assume that other quarterbacks are going to be that kind of same player. I think Jalen Hurts is a good runner with the football, but I don't think he's this elite talent that we all are kind of tricking ourselves into believing. And I think we're also kind of like, he's young, he's going to take that next step. When that doesn't necessarily always happen.
Yeah, that's true. He's not with Lincoln Riley anymore. So we'll see. All right. Last question for this segment, and then we will go to commercial quickly. Over under top 10 finish for Nate's favorite quarterback, Jameis Winston. What do we think we're going to see out of the blind man this year?
I think he could be a QB1 in like 2-point intercept. Like if you're in a 6-4 or a 6-2 or a 4-1, even a 4-2 would be close. Touchdown points to interception negative ratio. I think if you're in one of those leagues that does 6-point touchdowns, 4-point interceptions, and then additional points off if it's a pick six, I think that Winston's outside of your QB1. The one thing that kind of concerns me is we don't know what Sean Payton's going to do with Taysom Hill. And that does worry me. But, yeah, I'll take it. I'll say he'll finish as a top 10 QB.
Wait, well, I want to check the math here. So 4-2, which is a 2-point difference, is okay. But 6-4, which is also a 2-point difference, isn't.
Yeah, but you're usually getting that extra negative in 6-4 for pick sixes.
Okay.
All right.
Don't
matter. There's a lot of pick sixes that are going to happen.
Yeah,
I think he throws a couple.
Well, he'll throw a couple, but still, I mean, that'll happen. It's not like he's going to throw 5 pick sixes in like the season.
He might. He did.
Actually, he might.
Yeah, he might. But the theory, I think, with Jameis here is that he's going to outduel himself. But at the same time, you're looking at it, and when you have like Kyler Murray, you have that throw where it's like, well, Hop is out there somewhere. Well, who does Jameis have that he can just throw it up and Guy is out there somewhere? Marquez Callaway.
We're going to talk about him.
Marquez Callaway is out there somewhere. Is that
right?
Is that their top receiver? That doesn't.
We're going to get to that.
We're going to get to that. For me. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going against your sheet again, Doug.
Yes.
Read the shot sheet, Chris.
I can't read what I can't have.
All right. I don't think that he will be a top 10 guy just because too many turnovers, too many interceptions, that kind of stuff. I just can't see it. Plus, like Chris was mentioning, there's not a lot of weapons down there outside of Kamara right now for that. So I don't really see that. All right. So Deej, it is time.
I'm trying to get him to load. If you want the commercial, if you got him up.
I don't.
All right, give me 2 seconds.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi.
This is making great TV.
It's not my fault that you are
located in the Belgium neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad City's best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clint's is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. And your favorite team playing in those out-of-market games? You'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish off your football watching experience with one of their famous Quad City-style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC-style pies for the last 22 years. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street in Moline. Who doesn't need a solid handcuff on their fantasy squad? Grab a bite to eat at Clint's Draft House while watching the noon games, and then head on over across the Moline Rock Island border to the Corner Tap for some libations during the 3 o'clock games. Every Sunday is fun day at the corner with $3 Tall Boys, Bloody Marys, Jack Daniels, and $2 PBR drafts. Head into the Corner Tap, 4018 14th Avenue, Rock Island, and get into the end zone. Everybody left me.
That was a very angry commercial read. Both of those were.
I was very angry about how it didn't pop up when I wanted it to pop up.
I hate
That's
that.
what she said.
Yep, that is what she said. All right. I don't know where Chris went. He's probably on a bathroom break like some people. But let's start with the running back category here. Deej, is CMC still your 101?
I actually, in my rankings for our draft guide, I think Alvin Kamara is my RB1 this year. I think with the Michael Thomas situation, he's going to be a lot more involved in the pass game. And I think you could see, I don't think he's going to go nuts like he did in the Vikings Christmas game. But I think you could see big games, especially early on at a Kamara, where he catches 10 to 12 passes and scores, a couple of touchdowns per week while we're waiting for Michael Thomas to come back.
Very well could. Yes, we also have junior member of For Fantasy's Sake, Kiwi, wanting to give her opinion on this. What do you think? I still think that CMC is the 101. Yes? Okay. She agrees. I can see you making a case for Dalvin. I can see you making a case for Kamara. But I still think at the end of the day, CMC is still the guy that you pull the trigger on there with that top pick. While we wait for Chris to get back from wherever Chris has decided to wander off to, and I'm quickly trying to make a draft pick. We'll grab that guy. All right. Hey, there's Chris. Hey, Chris, do you still want to take CMC at the 101, or do you want somebody else?
Who did you just take? You took that guy in your draft, Doug. You have to tell us who that guy is.
I took Javonte Williams in the 7th.
But why?
Because he was at the top of the draft board. I needed another running back, and I was scrambling.
But
because I had like 30 seconds to make
Doug,
I know. He was probably who I would have taken anyway.
Is Christian McCaffrey still running back 1? Is that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. I just don't see anybody who's as much of a dual threat there. I think Kumara definitely could fill into that role, but you need weapons around him to not make him the focal point of every single defense and every single defense coming out and saying, we are going to stop Alvin Kamara. So that's my real concern is when it comes to Christian McCaffrey, we know that he can do it. A lot of the peripherals around him haven't really changed all that much. I mean, the quarterback has changed, but I'm not too worried about it. I think with Dalvin Cook, the injury concerns remain there, he's a bowling ball, but he runs to contact, and guys who run to contact don't last as long. That's my only real concern with him. He had a fantastic year last year. Do I think that was more of an outlier than it's going to be average? Yeah, I kind of think so.
Quick audible here, just based upon our running back discussion there. In terms of draft strategy, traditionally, at least the last few years, the thought has been hammer wide receivers early because they score kind of the most points. But recently, here in this year, mostly, people have really been kind of saying, hit your running backs early. To make sure, because there's such a big drop off between kind of the top 6-7 guys and kind of everybody else, and wide receivers plenty deep that you can kind of wait on those. Are you guys kind of adapting your draft strategy this year to kind of go more running back early and wait on wide receiver?
I think there is an argument there because of how big the discrepancy is between guys who take the bulk of the touches and guys who split carries. So if I think that the top 6, maybe 7 picks are running backs, but I think after that, and I know I'm going to get booed here, Chiefs, but I think Kelsey's your next pick after that because I agree that the discrepancy is there as well. I mean, he scored almost 60 more points in the first 16 weeks of the season than Darren Waller, who was the tight end too. I think there's just such a scoring discrepancy between Kelsey and what else you can get at tight end that I think he's worthy of taking right after you would take the running backs.
Yeah, for a long time I went very heavy on tight end and quarterback earlier than most, just because I thought there was a little bit of a benefit to be found in getting points where other guys weren't getting points. And I think the tight end position, like you're highlighting, DJ, is a big area of opportunity that people are undervaluing. Because, like you said, after you get through your Mark Andrews, your Wallers, your Kelseys, your Kittles, maybe there's 5-6 guys that you can depend on to actually be good. But after those guys, it's just a wasteland out there. You've got dudes spray painting their mouths and yelling "witness me" just so they could try to find a tight end at this point. It's bad out there.
It's interesting to see, especially during camp, looking at camp notes and everything, all these players that teams invited to camp and be like, yeah, hey, I know you've played wide receiver or quarterback your entire life. Let's make you a tight end.
Oh, DJ, you just cannot get away from that Tim Tebow. Maybe the worst experiment I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
But hey, he sold some jerseys. That's all they were after.
Yep.
Hey, that's
all right. Next question on the sheet is: who has a bigger season, Joe Mixon, CEH, or David Montgomery?
I put that on there because they were so close in ADP, and I think that there's concerns around all of them about what they might be able to do. I think I'm going to go Mixon. I think I'm
going to go Mexican too.
I don't think so. I don't feel it. No, actually, I was thinking CEH maybe of all of that, just because the Chiefs are going to have such a lead most of the time that he's going to get kind of that fourth quarter work.
See, but you think that, but I think that the Chiefs are kind of that team that they're going to pass the ball to run out the clock. I don't think they're going to run the ball, and with CEH and Montgomery, I kind of worry about the guys who are behind them on the depth chart.
Wait, you're worried about Damian Williams?
I am worried about what Damian Williams, Tariq Cohen, and then in Kansas City. I'm worried about what kind of touches that Darrell Williams and Jerick McKinnon are going to take from CEH. I think that it's a legitimate thing that Damian Williams, who is very familiar with the Matt Nagy offensive system, is going to take some touches that you don't automatically see right now.
I can get that.
Yeah, I mean, Nagy did do weird crap with Patterson last year, but That's just Nagy being Nagy. I think if you keep the kind of the same workload, obviously he's going to do weird stuff in weird situations, but I think the workload of those three, I think now when I frame it like that, I think Montgomery, but I'm trying not to take the homer stance there.
Doug's running away from himself.
I am, but
here's the real problem with David Montgomery, and it's probably something that's easy to forget because we haven't watched Bears games in so long, and the Bears games we watched scarred our memories, Doug. Matt Nagy forgets to run the football.
No, that's true.
That's another big problem, is if they get down at any point, Matt Nagy's like, run game, go bye-bye. And that's basically the way his mind works. Additionally,
that's with a crappy quarterback.
That's with a crappy quarterback, you're right. And so Matt Nagy values passing the ball way more than he values running the ball. Matt Nagy will also run a lot of running plays that will instantly not work, which is why David Montgomery, I think, led the league in making defenders miss on tackles last year. David Montgomery is more of a plotter than he is a guy who's going to run away from people. So because of that, he's having to make a lot of people miss just to get regular yards. He's maybe more of a third down back, I think, than he is a primary back. Because he's fantastic at catching the ball. He's great when you can get him out in space. But if he has to run through a hole, he's busy juking a ghost before he even gets to the line of scrimmage. And so because of that, I think there's a lot of problems with Montgomery's game. Maybe having now progressed to this point in the league, we're going to see a different David Montgomery this year. But I haven't seen that to actually know it to be true. So I want to see that before I say that's going to be true. That's why I'm good with Mixon, because Mixon, I think, is the right combination of you know what you're getting and you don't have to guess about it.
That's probably fair. I just don't like Mixon. Plus,
no, I don't like him as a guy either. He's a piece of crap, Doug. He's absolutely a trash can that deserves to not be in the league.
Good. I'm glad that's settled. All right. Last question that's on the sheet. And I think this was probably more of a legit question a couple of weeks ago. But is James Robinson legit? I think just kind of from the top. I think before Etienne got hurt, I think that was probably more of a legitimate question of how many touches is he going to get, what kind of action is he really going to get. Now that Etienne's gone for the year, I think Robinson just slides right back into what we saw him be. Obviously, maybe a few less touches because now they've got some decent quarterback play down there, and Urban Meyer's going to want to play with his new toy. But I think James Robinson is still a solid RB2 option for you.
I would agree, but I do worry about what kind of touches Carlos Hyde might take. The percentage was there. He did have more percentage of the touches than Robinson did with Lawrence in the game in the preseason after Etienne got hurt. So I do kind of have a little bit of concern what kind of touches Carlos Hyde's going to take. And so if he's your RB2, I'm willing to take that risk, but I'm letting somebody else take him before I do in the RB1 situation.
Are you really worried about preseason touches, though? I think the Jaguars know what James Robinson can do, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, Carlos Hyde is new to the system, just because everybody's new to the system.
Everybody's new to, but is he? Because he played for Urban Meyer in college.
Oh, there you go, DJ. Oh. You're really pulling at those threads.
Wow. Okay. It is commercial time. Are you going to be angry? Do I need to put you in time?
We only got one this break, and I guarantee I won't mess it up.
You'll mess it up.
James Robinson's going to be good again this year because he doesn't have that handcuff of Etienne. I don't really even think there was that much of a concern with Etienne hanging around either, because when you started hearing those stories around the Jaguars running back situation to start the year, they were like, we're going to work Etienne out as a wide receiver too. And so it's like they were kind of preparing for James Robinson to take the bulk of these carries. ETN was going to eat into that. Obviously, that's gone now, but they were preparing for James Robinson to have a major role in this offense. It just expanded.
But wasn't that when Tim Tebow was tight end one there?
Yeah, I know. They factored in that Tim Tebow could be a running back every once in a while, too, I'm sure.
I'm sure. All right, do the thing, Deej.
Oh, yeah. Durham
You caught him
Modeling
off guard.
has been serving the Quad Cities area since 1973. With nearly 50 years of excellence on their track record, you'll see why it's so easy to trust their experts when it comes to all your home improvement projects. Durham Remodeling's work is a 100% guarantee, so you'll rest assured that you're getting the best service around. Call 309-786-6715 for all your roofing, siding, flooring, windows, and painting needs. That's Durham Remodeling, 309-786-6715.
I'm going to rust assured.
You're going to rest assured.
Okay. You said you weren't going to screw that up.
Hey, he had a good pun in there that he didn't even intend, Doug.
Yeah,
that's
true.
fantastic.
Yeah, that's true.
It's remodeling and rust assured.
Rust assured. I'm not sure Carl will be thrilled about reassuring Rust on his work, but
no, they're assuring you no rust in there.
Yeah,
rust
okay.
assured.
No, rust assured. Okay. All right.
You guys are the worst.
Yeah, we do what we can.
You made me read that promo for Monkey Knife Fights that has sharks listed in there, and every time I read it, I thought about Jets and Sharks, and I started to laugh instantly every time. Every time I was just like, yeah, it's happening.
Yes. West Side Story coming out this year or next year? I'm not quite sure. But it's a Steven Spielberg production.
Oof.
Yeah.
Stay away from all those things.
Exactly.
Hey, Doug, did you know there's going to be a Indiana Jones 5?
Ugh.
Did you know there's going to be
5 when
a
there's no
Matrix 4? Why, though?
I do not know.
Oh.
I'll probably still watch it, though.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, I remembered why they're making those. The money. There you go.
Money. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
money? I like the money. Oh, I like the money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. All right. So we are on to the wide receiver segment. So first question right off the top, where are you taking Michael Thomas out at least 5 weeks, current ADP of 5th round in the charity league draft? I just took Michael Thomas here in the, what round was that? 9th? Round 9, pick 6 is where I just took him. Felt I got good value there. I can sit on him, throw him on the IR, and hopefully catch something on the backside is kind of my hope with that. DJ, I know you – actually, let's start with Chris because DJ talks too much.
Okay.
What's kind of your kind of thought on him? I know kind of where I am. I know kind of where DJ is. What's kind of your thought on Michael Thomas?
When we were doing our redraft league, I try to keep my notes very brief so I can just kind of scroll through real quick. And next to Michael Thomas's name this year, I just wrote weird. And that's the reason I think that we're seeing him fall so much. Can you get value out of that? Yeah, probably. But do you really want that headache of having to follow Michael Thomas, especially if you're going to be depending on him? If this is a guy you really want to just set it and forget it on, that's not going to happen with Michael Thomas because you're going to have to follow his soap opera story of what's going on this season. And that's why I'm out on that whole thing. He's going to prove me wrong, and I'm going to be fine with that.
At what point would you finally pull the trigger on him? At what point is the value greater than the soap opera?
If I've got 2 wide receivers on my team that I know are going to be studs, and I'm looking at getting somebody as just insurance, then I would add Michael Thomas.
Okay. Deej?
Yeah, I agree. 7th, 8th round. I want my running back, wide receiver, flex positions pretty solidified. I want to immediately draft him into a bench spot. Because I guaranteed I did draft him in the for fantasy sake league, I believe. Maybe I didn't. I don't remember. But I guarantee if I'm rostering Michael Thomas somewhere, I'm forgetting till Sunday morning that I have him, and I'm forgetting that I need to activate him from my IR. because he's going to sit on your bench for so long or in your IR slot for so long that you're just going to forget you have him. Unless it's a dynasty redraft keeper, or, dynasty keeper, or whatever.
So what exactly is the injury? I mean, outside of his complaining and just being odd, what's going on there? Because I haven't kept very good track of everything.
He had some kind of lower leg cleanup in June. So all of a sudden, what wasn't, because didn't he play in that Bears playoff game?
I don't remember. Yeah, I think he did come back and he played very poorly in that game. And then the next playoff game, he played fine. I think he only had 2 catches in the Bears playoff game, but that's off of memory. I can't.
Yeah. Well, he just all of a sudden now is the time he needs to get that cleaned out. And so it's just super weird. I think he could have a productive season with Winston at quarterback. It's just, when is he going to play?
Yeah. So I have a really good track record of drafting wide receivers high and getting burned by them. So 2019, I had Tyreek Hill, who kept getting injured. And then 2020, I had Michael Thomas, who kept getting injured and burned me bad. So, I mean...
So who was our avoidance this year?
Oh, I can't remember who I took really early. It was Julio. I'm sorry, Julio.
And Doug.
Damn it, Chris.
I did that to you, Julio. I'm so sorry. And DJ Chark.
Yeah, that's fine with DJ Chark.
Yeah, but they're both guys who are kind of injury prone, and I felt like it's not going to be my fault this time.
Oh no, it's
all about
absolutely
me, Doug. No, it's all about me. I need to feel better. They injured themselves. I didn't do it.
DJ Chark. Doot. By the way, do you guys watch Ted Lasso?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, love that show.
It's great.
I loved it when they did Jamie Tart. Doot.
No, that's great. Give me all of the Ted Lasso. I need it all.
Yeah, me too. All right. Spinning the wheel of Steelers wide receivers. Who we taking this year overall?
I'm always on the Deontay train. I just think that he gets peppered with so many targets that it doesn't matter if he drops 15% of them. I just think that they're there. You're kind of hoping Claypool or Juju have a big touchdown game, but I think Deontay's their target hog, and I'm all about him.
Yeah, I agree with DJ. I'm not worried about drops anymore. I think that's kind of a thing where people get too caught up in those stats. If he has drops, that means he's continuing to get targeted. If he doesn't drop them, then his numbers are only going to increase. So are there going to be drops? Probably. Is he getting to balls that maybe he shouldn't and they're considered drops? Probably. There's a little bit in there too. So we got to take a look at the actual number before we're just like, oh, he drops the ball too much. What kind of drops are these? Are they him making an extraordinary effort to try to catch the ball and it ends up being a drop? Or is this, it hits him right in the numbers and he drops it?
Well, and I don't remember if this was a Sicoli stat, but if you look at where his drops were, I think that 90% of his drops were within 2 yards of the line of scrimmage. So it was kind of one of those where he was getting the ball tossed to him and immediately a guy being there.
Yeah.
So some of them were balls that were popped out. Some of them were footstep drops. I think he had a drop where it was a screen and the defender pushed the other Steelers receiver into him. So, I mean, those were all things that caused him not to catch the ball that we don't really look at because those are, if you're watching the game, you don't see those in the box score.
True. Also in the Iowa-Indiana game yesterday, something I'd never seen before is a player fumble the ball and then pick it up and flip it underhand, try to flip it out of bounds. And they considered that a pass. So I'm completely perplexed on how football works now, guys.
What's a catch? What's a pass? There are no rules. All that kind of fun stuff. Yeah. I think for the record, I think you're right. I think Deontay is probably the number one guy there. How are you ranking them? Deontay, Claypool, Juju? Is that how?
Deontay, Juju, Claypool. But I think there's a small gap between Deontay and Juju, but I think there's a large gap between Juju and Claypool. I think and based on this is last season with all those touchdowns, like he disappeared when he wasn't scoring. And so you're really counting on Claypool having a game where he scores 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking along those same lines, DJ, where I was thinking variance is going to be the problem with Claypool, is that he's going to have the huge games, but he's also going to have the games where he doesn't exist. And that's why the wheel of Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers is so interesting, is because it definitely can be a wheel, but I would say if you're divvying up the pie selections, and I know pie, delicious, but if you're divvying up those pie sections, Chase Claypool's pie section is a lot smaller than Juju's and definitely Deontay's.
I think this is definitely a argument where you really want the take from a Steelers fan and see where they're at, where you're sitting in a draft with them and all 3 guys are on the board and they take one of them. Because I do say, I know we're homers, but if we're taking one of our guys anyway, it would be interesting to see where the people who are more emotionally connected to the situation go.
We'll see if we can get Sicoli and Nick to talk about that on their show.
But then you also have to take into account that if you are a fan of somebody, you're going to be all like, Deontay dropped that huge pass. I hate that guy now. That's also a fan thing that'll get in there a little bit too. I remember that time that he dropped that pass that didn't make the highlight reel that we're all basing a lot of our opinions on. And so that'll be in there a little bit too, is that fan bias.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, last one before we go to commercial break. Is Justin Jefferson heading to a sophomore slump?
I think so.
By the way,
you're in love with him, DJ. You go ahead,
Chris. No, I think that this kind of the situation where they are going to run the ball a little bit more this year, and so Kirk won't be throwing as often. So the numbers are going to regress a bit there, but I think Jefferson's still a top 5 wide receiver and definitely a top 5 dynasty asset.
Did the Vikings defense get better?
One more time.
Did the Vikings defense get any better this year?
Their pass rush is a little bit better. They got Griffin back. They're going to have some guys healthier this year. So
I thought they cut him. Did they get him back after they cut him?
He did come back.
Okay. I can see their defense factoring into that a little bit. I think he's going to have another very good season, but I don't doubt that defensive coordinators hate it when there's an offensive coordinator that's supposed to be a genius. That same logic applies to a player who's a fantastic rookie that comes out and is supposed to change the league. Defensive coordinators are going to go out of their way to make sure that he doesn't influence a game as much as he should, because they don't want to hear about it. They don't want to have to hear about how great he is. Or maybe in the lead up to that game, they hear about how great he is all week. And they have to do those little platitudes about, oh, yeah, we have to make sure we have to do this and that and that. So they're going to try to get him. And I think that's the biggest thing we're going to have to see in the sophomore season, is how he adjusts to the adjustments of people trying to take him away.
Yeah.
All right. That'll take Frog is strong this morning. All right, so that'll take us to the end of this segment. Deej, you up?
Football season is almost underway, and if you spend Sundays watching football anywhere but Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, you're doing it wrong. Van's Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport, is the best place to catch all your favorite games. And there's plenty of time to make that your Sunday priority. Start your meal off with their famous McGuire's Original Nachos or Bready Nuggets. Then ask about one of their original QC-style pizzas, or be your own quarterback and call an audible and create your own. The Vans crew will be sure your call hits play dirt every time. Vans Pizza Pub and Grill, 3333 North Harrison Street in Davenport. Come get served. Located in the Belgium neighborhood of 7th Street in Moline, Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill is home to some of the Quad City's best food and drink specials. On Sundays, there's no better place to be. Clint's is serving up 75-cent wings and $4 Bloody Marys all day. and your favorite team playing in those out-of-market games, you'll never miss a second of the action on one of their 10 screens with NFL Sunday Ticket. And after you've had your wing and bloody fix, finish your football watching experience off with one of their famous Quad City-style pizzas. And folks, they know pizza. They've been spinning QC-style pies for the last 22 years. So make Clint's part of your Sunday football routine. Clint's Draft House Pizza and Grill, 7th Street, Moline. That's it.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to decide whether I wanted to make fun of you for saying play dirt, but I'm going to.
Play dirt?
Yeah, you said hit play dirt.
Play dirt is like the equate version of Play-Doh.
Yeah. All right, where are we at? We're on tight ends, everybody's favorite subject. All right. So, who is the best of the rest after the top 5, which DJ has defined as Kittle, Kelsey, Waller, Andrews, and Hawkinson?
Chris, go ahead and answer that. I'm on the clock.
I don't want any of those guys. After those, the ones that we just mentioned, I don't know that I'm really in love with anybody. I think Robert Tonyan had a good season where he got Aaron Rodgers' attention, and the players that Rodgers likes get a lot of targets because he gets a little biased every once in a while, and he just goes to his guys when he thinks he needs to go to his guys. I think there's room for Tanyans. I think Pitts might surprise some people and be a bit of a dud. I'm the only one who believes that, so don't listen to me. But Kyle Pitts is a guy who is very talented, and could be extremely good. But if we look back at wide receivers who had his similar skill set, I don't know that there's a long-term fantasy value there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Pitts guy. I traded up to get him in a tight end premium league. Ended up trading him, but I just think it's different. I think it's different because he's going to be the number 2 option on that team. While he does have skill sets similar to like a Vernon Davis, I think it's just different. The league is different. Matt Ryan's a different quarterback than Alex Smith when Vernon Davis came in the league. As far as who's that top guy, it could almost be anybody. I personally think it could be Pitts, but at the same time, you have, like you said, Tanya, and you have I think Logan Thomas is an underrated option there. Evan Ingram is one of the guys that I keep waiting for him to break out, and this might be the year that he does that. Noah Fant, I'm a big Noah Fant guy. There's just multiple guys, but like you said, and like I said earlier when we were talking about running backs, I'm willing to spend that early draft capital on getting a Kelsey, Kittle, Waller, Hawkinson, Andrews, because it is so gross, and there's such a big discrepancy after those top 5 guys. Because like we were saying, you just don't know with Pitts, because you have who thinks that this is going to be a down year, but he could have a year less than what people expected and still be the number 6 tight end, which is
right.
is that big thing that kind of blows your mind at the tight end position.
I think with tight end especially, it does take a year to become the player that you need to be. We saw that with Hawkinson. Hawkinson had that one really big game his rookie year, and everybody was like, oh, here we go with TJ Hawkinson. And then he disappeared the rest of the season. Now he came back in season 2, and he was very, very good. So it does take some time for a tight end to evolve in the NFL. Now, looking at where you could potentially find some value here, I like Tyler Higbee a lot because of the change in LA where you get Matt Stafford added into the equation now. I think Matt Stafford is going to look at tight end more than we ever saw, Jared Goff. So that change, it might unlock a Tyler Higbee who people were very high on, and then he was a dud last year. So his stock is way down. If you want to kick the tires on somebody, I think that might be a good option for you.
I think that's where it gets really hard in redraft as opposed to dynasty or other leagues where you can kind of take a chance, because I think in redraft you're kind of sunk if you take a flyer on a tight end and you just get no production out of that position, as opposed to dynasty where you can kind of wait on guys. And,
Right.
I've kind of been, like I said, with camp notes where guys are changing from wide receiver to tight end. Like I'm looking at that in dynasty / contract leagues, and I'm picking some of those guys up just to see what happens if I have roster spots. And if you're in that situation, if you're listening to this and you're in a thing where you keep all your guys, Jacob Harris for the Rams, I'm a big fan of him. They were actually in practice putting him at the Y position opposite of Robert Woods with Cooper Kupp in the slot quite a bit. So they were using him as the same way that Gruden used Darren Waller. So I'm interested to see how that progresses. Kylan Granson from Indianapolis, I think that's another guy that I'm willing to take a flyer on. The fact that there's no solid wide receiver 2 in Kansas City, I'm willing to take a chance on Noah Gray in the potential that the Chiefs go to some 2 tight end sets because Kelsey plays in the slot a lot. So I mean, there's guys in dynasty leagues I'm willing to take a flyer on, but redraft is just so hard. And I think redraft you take a chance on reaching to grab one of those top 5 tight ends.
Another guy that I think you could find some value in is Hunter Henry, because Hunter Henry is a very good player. He's always injured. That's his real problem. But you look back prior to when New England had Gronk and they had tight ends that were incredible. They leaned on those tight ends a ton. It's just a part of Belichick's system. Hunter Henry is now that top tight end for New England. And I think we're kind of discounting that because we've forgotten over time. Hunter Henry isn't Gronk, but can he do extraordinary things? He's extremely athletic, and he's a guy who could probably break out a little bit this year.
The biggest problem with him, and I was a huge fan when he landed there, is then they immediately signed Jonnu Smith as well. So will they kind of run where, because you had a year where they were able to sustain 2 fantasy relevant tight ends. And that was me trying to figure out how to say it without saying the guy's name. You had that year where they were able to sustain them. And so will they run that kind of an offense? Like, can you name, outside of Nelson Aguilar, can you name a wide receiver in New England?
Jacoby Myers.
Okay. Yeah. Cause Doug got offered Jacoby Myers the other day.
But they're also talking about Jacoby Myers at like running back and stuff too.
Right. So it'll be interesting to see. I think that, I know this is off subject and not on this shot sheet, but you're also looking at, if you're in a PPR league and you're desperate for somebody to slot at running back, like this is where you look at James White. I mean, James White's 100% that RB2 in that situation where he's going to play on those passing downs, and they don't have a whole lot of passing weapons. And so I think White's a legitimate guy that he could go back to where he was a few years ago when he finished as an RB1, just playing on passing downs.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you've got Sony Michel out of the picture too. So now you've got even more touches freed up for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doug, do you have an opinion on who that tight end 6 could be?
No, I think you guys covered that pretty well. I don't. That's really kind of the thing, is you either take them high or you take them low and throw a bunch of darts at the wall. And in the Scott Fish Bowl, I picked up Gronk just because you got that Gronk Brady connection, and you're looking for tight end upside for a bye week fill-in. Really, it's kind of a dart throw at this point. So
Gronk was sneaky good last year, and I would not have anticipated that at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
he managed to stay healthy long enough to actually get some targets and put up some points.
The big thing is, what kind of role is a healthy OJ Howard or Cameron Brate going to play to take touches away from? I think also, I was in a draft yesterday that was kind of interesting. We only had 14 spots, and we had a kicker and a defense in this league. And I think that type of league, you really also want one of those top 5 guys because you have no bench spots. You don't have a spot to grab a tight end while you wait for a flyer somewhere else. Chris, you just melted my brain.
I know. That's what I'm good for, DJ.
I think I'm in one league, maybe 2, where I don't roster the guy in Kansas City. And the only reason I don't roster him in that league is because I had a penalty if I drafted him. So I still don't know who's on my team in that league. So
we're working on it.
He doesn't care.
No, I care. I just don't know who's on my team.
We're working on it. Is anybody here actually still a Blake Jarwin believer? Because I know he was kind of a hot name for a little while last year, but I just don't think there's enough there.
I just don't know if there's enough footballs to go around for him to be
Part of that
what you need him to be. I mean, you legitimately need a top 10 tight end to want to start a guy, and that's tough, especially in 12-team leagues.
Yeah. He's a guy that he's a DFS play that you're hoping to hit the touchdown that week. That's
100%.
What about Chris Herndon then?
Oh yeah, because he just got traded from the Jets to
Minnesota.
To Minnesota.
Yeah, that could be. They expected no Kyle Rudolph there. Everybody expected Irv Smith to kind of blow up, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities underneath with Jefferson kind of taking the lid off the defense. So it'll be interesting. He could be a guy who catches 5 to 6 passes a game, and if he can get 60, 70 yards and a score with those things, he's a very valuable option.
Well, think about who Kirk's safety valve is going to be. Does Dalvin Cook really catch the ball at all?
I mean, he can, but you're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got to have somebody who can actively catch the ball on downs where Dalvin Cook's going to be out on the field. So if you want somebody to be a safety valve who's going to get those 5 or 6 touches a game, that could be valuable.
Yeah.
Doug, we spent way too much time on tight ends now.
We did. I was trying to cut that off earlier, and then you brought up Chris Herndon, and then it went off.
Chris Herndon is very interesting.
Yes. Yeah, he actually is. Okay, so let's move. Let's go to the commercial, and then because DJ's got like a metric ton of rapid fires to go through.
We're no longer a PG show, but we're still saying frick it for fantasy's sake. I can't even get the name of the show right. Frick's Tap, that is. If Davenport is more your style for your football watching pleasure, head to Frick's Tap, 1402 West 3rd Street, where they have 20 beers on tap. Beer isn't your scene? That's okay. They have $3 you call it during all of the Sunday football games. Frick's has the NFL Sunday ticket on all of their 13 TV screens, so don't fret if your team's playing on the West Coast this week. So for Frick's sake, head into Frick's Tap today.
He stuck the landing, Doug. Come on, we got to give him that.
Yeah, I'll give him that. He was enthusiastic. I'll give him that.
I like it for fantasy steak. It's very good. If you get them medium rare, they're excellent.
That was a good one, Chris.
As one of my favorite Statler and Waldorf jokes go, that bit was medium. What do you mean it was medium? Well, it wasn't rare, and it certainly wasn't well done.
Beautiful.
But no. All right, let's go straight up rapid fire. Wheel of Seahawks wide receivers, Lockett or Metcalf. You guys know my answer. Go.
Metcalf.
Yep, both wrong. Who scores more touchdowns, Chase Edmonds or James Conner?
Edmonds.
Who scores more?
So does that make Edmonds? Would you guys agree that makes Edmonds like the go-to? And where would you draft him? Like, are you comfortable with him as your RB2?
Wait, say that again.
Are you comfortable with Edmonds as your RB2?
No.
I think I am.
Yeah. James Conner cannot wait to get injured. So I'm good with that because I think he could have a definite breakout year with Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, I'm avoiding that whole situation. I'm not crazy about the running game there in Arizona. All right, who scores more fantasy points, Jimmy G or Trey Lance?
Lance.
Yeah, I think Lance is the right answer there.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, wheel of Rams wide receivers, Cooper Kupp or Bobby Trees?
Cup.
Trees.
I'll take Robert Woods.
You got to go with the bit.
Trees.
Thank you. What percentage of snaps does Taysom Hill steal from Jameis? 15%.
30.
Like over the course of a game or over the course of the
season?
I think Doug might be close on 15. There might be a game where he has to start. Like
did you say 50
or something?
Doug, did you say 50?
I said 1-5.
I'm saying 30.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Wheel of Bucks running backs, Leonard Fournette or Ronald Jones?
Rojo.
Yeah, I think Jones showed enough last year.
See, I'm still taking Fournette. Where does Sam Darnold finish in the QB ranks?
I could see this being a top 15 season for him. This is the
I was
best.
going to say somewhere between 14 and 16.
These are the best weapons he's had.
Yeah, I think right in the middle of the pack is right about right.
Okay. Can Matt Ryan be a top 15 quarterback without Julio? No.
Yeah, that team's going to be behind, so they're going to be chucking it.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan, where we get goofed up with Matt Ryan is he has those games where he's huge, but he also has those games where he's awful. Mm-hmm. So I think that evens out to a top 10 or top 12 quarterback.
It says 15.
So yes.
Yes, top 10.
All right. Will Antonio Gibson finish as an RB1?
Yeah.
I worry about the other people around him.
I say yes. Over under 10 games for Kenny Golladay. That's right about where I'd put him.
I hope it's the over.
I'm going to take the under.
10 games played?
Yeah.
What's he have going on?
Hamstrings.
Already?
Already.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go with the under then. Hamstring is one that doesn't seem like it goes away.
Wheel of Cowboys wide receivers, Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, or Michael Gallup?
CD.
Amari Cooper is too talented not to take.
Who is the wide receiver one in Philly? It's got to be
Jalen Reagor.
Smith.
Dallas Goedert.
I like that answer, Chris.
Way to sidestep it. Good job, Chris.
They're all bad. I want them to be good. I really do. Devontae Smith could be excellent. I just can't get over that photo from this offseason where it showed him in the uniform for the first time, and it looked like a Make-A-Wish where they had like a Pee-wee football player who got on the field somehow.
Where it looked like Kevin Durant.
No, it didn't.
Did you see his Heisman commercial yesterday with all the other guys?
It was very nice. It was fun. I liked it.
Can Aaron Rodgers repeat his MVP season?
The thing with Rodgers last year is he was very good at not throwing the ball to the other team, and I just there's going to be more picks.
I can't put it past Aaron Rodgers to just put another FU season out there because that guy runs off of spite. Ask his family. So I think he'll probably be very good again.
But will he be MVP good?
That's hard to tell because of injuries. I think he's due for another injury that knocks him out for 4 or 5 games. So if he is going to play as much as he played last year, yeah, he could definitely be MVP again.
Okay. I'm going to go hope for all of our sakes, no, with that one. When does Justin Fields become Bears QB1?
Week 3.
We discussed this on the draft.
Hey, Chris wasn't here.
Okay. Chris, when do you think?
I don't know. I don't understand any of it. I don't know. I don't want to play Matt Nagy psychologist anymore because I'm just done with that whole dude.
Okay, that's fair.
No,
I think
I'll
I
go with
said
week
the
3,
Detroit
week
game.
5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, that's about the Detroit game because it'll be a home game after a couple of rough losses to Cleveland and somebody else. And so they'll give him a cupcake to kind of get his feet wet with. Percent of this isn't even English. Percent of chance Dalvin Cook finishes as RB1.
40.
75.
Wow, Doug.
The number one overall running back?
Sure, he's got the talent. He gets the touches. If something happens to CMC, which we've already seen, it's not a big leap to think that.
Do you mean that we've already CMC'd?
But
Can I mute you?
yeah, I think he can. The thing about Christian McCaffrey was that it wasn't sustainable. He had so many touches over the start of his career that major injury had to start. It had to happen at some point. So
Yeah.
How much is that wear and tear going to take out of his career? He's fast enough to get away from the major hits, but he's going to start to have those injuries pop up.
And if Darnold's as taking the step forward the way that we think that he is, that's going to take touches away from CMC too, because he's going to start looking to the outside. So I think that the chances are pretty good. Are pretty good there. Do you think Dalvin gets to 2,000 yards? Who do you think can get to 2,000 yards? I'll throw in my own question here. Henry got there last year. We didn't even mention it in the show. Is there anybody this year you think could get to 2,000 yards, especially with the extra week?
Yeah.
Not taking on account Henry?
Anybody. Field's wide open.
Maybe Saquon.
It's a tough schedule for Saquon, though.
Yeah. I just think that the touches are going to be there, though.
Are we talking about just rushing, Doug, or are we talking about like 2,000 overall yards? Because if we're
2,000
doing
rushing.
that, that's Alvin.
2,000 rushing.
Okay.
I mean, Henry for sure. Henry, I feel like for sure gets there, but otherwise, I'm not sure.
Jonathan Taylor has a shot at it.
No.
That offense doesn't have anything else to do.
True.
Those are just noises, Doug. You have to make words happen.
Believe me, my facial expressions say enough. You can tell exactly what I'm thinking with that. Over under 50 catches for DeAndre Swift. Under.
Wait, how many?
50.
50 catches on the season?
I assume so.
That's still a lot of catches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I'll
like
say
it.
under.
Yeah, I'd go under on that.
Yeah, me too. All right. I jumped ahead because I didn't read ahead. Derrick Henry run for 2,000 yards and 20-plus touchdowns. I think the 2,000 yards are possible. I don't know about the 20-plus touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a lot, especially with
Julio
and A.J. Brown.
Yeah, go up and get it, guys, especially at the goal line. Why wouldn't they be giving Tannehill more options to just chuck the ball up high and have one of them come down with it?
Is Carson Wentz a viable starter in a 2 QB league?
Chris didn't even let you finish.
Nope.
I agree.
I've had
yeah.
Carson Wentz since the season where he was going to win MVP and then got injured. And I've regretted always having Carson Wentz because he has a hospital wing built in Philly, and he already has to be like transported over to Indianapolis by an ambulance. So I just don't understand what the talent could be there. It's just get on the field, dude. And I know that's easy for me to say from my couch, but still.
Is anyone but Brandon Cooks fantasy relevant in Houston?
I think David Johnson might be.
You happy with him as your RB2?
No, but I think that you could sneak him into your flex every once in a while.
Philip Lindsay is still fast, and that plays in the NFL. I would go with Philip Lindsay.
That's true. That's a Madden answer, Chris. You know that Philip Lindsay's on the Texans because you play Madden. I forgot he exists.
He's a 93 speed, DJ. I have to know he's on a team.
Is Trevor Lawrence a legit candidate in a one quarterback league? I'm going to say no.
Like a start
No.
every week guy?
I assume
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. His coach is a moron, and I don't trust him.
I'm gonna go no. I still think he's gonna be in that QB2 tier, at least this year. Over under 60 total touchdowns for Josh Allen. That's a lot.
No way. That's
I'll
like
take the
near
under, but
impossible.
I think he's in the 50s.
Even with the extra game, that sounds ridiculous.
I don't know. He throws for 45 and runs for 15. That's
15?
once a week. He's their goal line running back, technically.
15, Doug?
I think he's close. I think he'll get close. I think it'll be somewhere between 45 and 50.
But this is 60.
Oh, sorry. I think it's somewhere between like 53 and 57. Sorry, I misspoke my words. I think it's possible.
I'm trying to find a math number where it isn't crazy, and 45 and 15 is like the closest. I know.
Yeah. What if why can't it be 50 and 10? I mean, he threw 40 touchdowns last year.
So you think he's going to get 10 more touchdowns in one game?
No, but I think he's better. I think he's developed
But he's
more.
not sneaking. But they're not sneaking up on anybody either this year. Last year was
true.
still kind of who's taking that? Is New England still
So
good?
where's your number then for him? What if it was at 52 and a half?
So throw 40 and run for 11. Yeah, I could see that. Run for 13.
Chris,
What?
like what number are you at with Josh Allen? How many total touchdowns?
I was trying to look up how many touchdowns Cam has run for in a single season. Like, it's got to be around like 10. So he'd have to throw for 50 touchdowns to get to 60.
Okay. All right, Doug, carry on.
Okay. That's a stumper. All right. Over under top 20 finish for Myles Gaskin.
I think he finishes in the top 20.
Yeah, I guess 20. Like 18, 19.
I don't know. I don't like that whole
He's
situation just because there's so many like weird variables going on there, especially with the fact that they don't seem to like Tua already.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's just dumb. Yeah, but yeah, Miami's a weird. I don't know what's going on in Miami. Percentage of chance Mac Jones wins Rookie of the Year. 3.
30.
10? I don't know. Not very likely.
Top running back for the Jets. I think that Carter kid.
Tevin Coleman.
Yeah, I got Tevin Coleman rostered because why not?
All right. Will Najee Harris reward the high second-round pick for fantasy managers?
Yeah, probably. Whole thing makes sense.
I'll say no.
Nick is going to come for you.
I know.
I'm going to say yes. Nick has me convinced that Najee Harris. I didn't need a lot of convincing, but I think that he's probably the best rookie shot at that. More rushing yards, Lamar Jackson or Gus Edwards? That is Lamar in a landslide.
Yeah, Lamar probably over 1,000.
I kind of want to take Gus Edwards. I like him.
Okay.
Cam
Will
Newton's
Kareem
most
Hunt
touchdowns
keep
in a
Nick
season
Chubb-
was 14.
Huh?
He had one other
What's that,
season where he
Chris?
did 12. Cam Newton's most rushing touchdowns in a season was 14. He had one other season where he did 12. Other than that, it's all been underneath double digits. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There's one in there that's 10. I lied.
Okay.
You liar.
I know.
So 52-8. Kareem
Still
Hunt
so many.
Josh Allen math.
Will Kareem Hunt keep Nick Chubb from finishing as a top 5 running back? No, because Kareem Hunt will get in trouble at some point.
Mm-hmm. I'm all in on Chubb this year. I'm a fan. I'm not worried about the split.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Wheel of Bengals wide receiver, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins.
I'm a big T. Higgins guy.
Yeah, T. Higgins.
Give me Boyd. Who is the Chiefs wide receiver 2? Nobody cares.
Do they still have Mecole Hardman?
Yeah, it's got to be Hardman.
He's fast.
What's his speed rating on Madden, Chris?
Probably 97.
Does Darren Waller make the jump to TE1? I don't know if he'll jump Kittle because he's already TE2.
I'll say no. I think he'll finish behind Kelsey.
I don't know. The usage is there to do it, and Kelsey has to start dropping off at some point, but I don't see any reason why.
All right, over under 80 catches for Austin Eckler.
I'm going to take the over. It is a lot, but I think it could happen.
I'll take the under on that. I think Herbert's too talented to just be checking it down that much.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that. All right, last one. Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy?
Judy.
Sutton.
Ooh.
All right, Dougie, take us home.
All righty, so that will do it. We appreciate y'all hanging with us for our draft spectacular. We will be back next week and every week thereafter for the regular season shows. You can find us at 10 o'clock Central here on the place that you found us at. So for Facebook, for Twitter, for YouTube, and on what is that thing called? TikTok. We are all those places. You can find us at any and all of those places going forward. So for DJ, for Chris, I am Doug. We were sponsored by Mobile Party Experience. Almost forgot to get that in. We will see y'all next week when the season kicks off for real.